about operations with polynomials? Yeah.
Just on the last page.
Mm-hmm.
X, Y, C. I'll look that up. Is there a specific order of X, Y?
For the which one?
No, page 4.
Oh, back before. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
For that one?
Says one that has X and Y in the same row.
So, like part A there? Or is it farther up? Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Part C. I see.
Specific order of X, Y?
Usually we do the X before the Y only because it's alphabetical.
Okay. So I know I put it like that on the thinking about it. When I did the online thing, and then it marked it wrong.
Really?
And then I did the same on my worksheet. When I looked at it, it was wrong because I put it the Y for that.
It shouldn't be. It should be. Shouldn't count it wrong. I'll go. Should be an email and remind me to go look at what you, because I can review what you put in there. Shoot me an email and I'll go look at it and see what's going on and see if there was. Usually we put the X before the Y, but as far as putting it in for an answer, it should take it either way. So I'll just like I said, shoot me an email so I'm reminded to go look at it and I'll go review what the attempt and see what's going on. But yeah, so usually we put the X before the Y just because it's alphabetical order. But technically, since it's multiplication, it doesn't matter which way. So I should have taken it either way. I would take it either way if you were doing it on a quiz or a test. So. Other questions at all? What's that? I didn't hear you. Oh, I think I'm going to do a quiz on Wednesday. Yeah. So over this stuff that we've been doing. Yeah. So we're going to do some more examples of this today, and I've got another practice worksheet. So let's go ahead and go through this part C, make sure that we're all on the same page with it, and then I want to do a couple more problems with the multiplication, and then, like I said, I've got another practice sheet for you to work on today. And we'll talk about that before we want to do stuff on Wednesday. So, looking at this again, we're multiplying these two things together. The 6x cubed y squared and the 2x to the 4th y to the 7th. So, what do we do with the 6 and the 2? The 6 here and the 2 here, what will we do with those? Just multiply them. Good, good. So we would have the 6 times the 2 gives me the 12, right? What do you get when we multiply the x cubed and the x to the 4th together? What do we do with the exponents there? Add them. Good. So we'll get x to the 7th. Good. And then finally, when we do the y squared and the y to the 7th, what do we get? Y to the 9th. Good. Can we combine the x to the 7th and the y to the 9th together? No. Because again, we have different bases. Right? Let's do another one here with distributing. Let's just look at part B there, make sure we're all on the same page. So again, when we've got that 3x out in front, we want to distribute it to everything, right? So we would have 3x times the 5x squared, 3x times the 4x, and the 3x times the 7. Right? Distribute that to every single piece. When we simplify in that first term, what would we have? X to the 3rd, yep, because we're going to add the 1 and the 2 together, right? Because it's x to the 1st plus x, or x to the 1st times the x squared. In the second one, we would have 12x squared, right? Because again, when we don't have an exponent, we understand that there's a 1 there. Right, for each of those. And finally, the last one you would get 21x. Good. Can we combine any of those terms together? No, because again, they're not like, right? To be a like term, I'd have to have exactly the same thing for the variable part, right? So when we have addition or subtraction, I can't put the x pieces together if they don't have the same exponents. So let's look at a couple of these where we need to multiply everything out. Okay. So if we look at part C here, remember when we do a binomial times a binomial, or generally speaking, anything, any polynomial times any other polynomial, we need to remember that we've got to distribute each term in the first one to each term in the second one, right? So for this one, I need to take the x times the 3x, and I have to do the x times the negative 4, right? It has to get distributed to everything. What else has to happen? Yeah, they got to take the 2 times the 3x and the 2 times the negative 4. Right? I got to do all of them. And again, that's why we called that FOIL. Remember we used the word FOIL last time? You don't have to remember the word. It's just a little bit of a helpful thing to remind you of what the multiplications you have to do. We did the first terms multiplied together. We did the outer terms multiplied together. Inner terms multiplied together. Last term multiplied together. This is the way that we help you remember what they multiply together. Again, you don't really have to remember the words. You just have to remember, take the first thing, distribute it through. Take the second thing, distribute it through, and just keep going until you run out of terms. Now we look at the first piece here. X times 3x gives us 3x squared. X times 4 is just 4x. 2 times 3x gives us 6x. 2 times 4 gives us 8. Are there any terms here that we can combine? Yeah, the 4x and the 6x. What do we get when we combine those two together? Just a 2x, right? Because we'll take the minus 4 plus the 6. That okay? All right, you tell me what gets multiplied in this part D here. Good. 3x and 7x gets multiplied. What else? 3x and 2. Good. What else? Yeah, the 5 and the 7x and 5 and 2. Now notice on this one, might be a little bit trickier. Notice this is minus 5 in the first one. I need to make sure I take the minus 5 and multiply by everything. All right, so it's minus 5 times the 7x and minus 5 times the 2. Minus needs to go along with it. So again, take the 3x, multiply it by everything. So just the 3x times the 7x and the 3x times the 2. That's where those two come from. And then do the same thing for the minus 5 for the other two. Everybody okay with the distribution? When we multiply the first two together, what do we get? Good. The next two together, 6x. Good. The next one, negative 35x. Good. And then negative 10. Good. Anything combined? If the 6x and the negative 35x are like terms, right? So if we do a plus a 6 and minus 35, we get negative 29. Good. That okay? What questions do you have on that one? Or are we good? What did you do? And then distribute it to each of them, and then back. Yep, that's okay. You can do it that way. That's just basically what you're doing is making sure that you keep track of everything that you need to multiply together. So what you did is perfect. Yep, absolutely do it that way. Let's see if we can do one that's got a little bit more pieces to it. Let's look at the last, the part C on the last page. Should be the last page. So again, it's important to make sure that I distribute everything in the first one to everything in the second one. Right? So I got to take the x times everything, and I've got to take the 2 times everything. So when we do that, we would have x times x squared. No, I'll write it as minus. We've got x times the minus 5x and the x times the 3. What else do we need to do? Take the 2 through everything, right? So we have 2 times the x squared, the 2 times the minus 5x, and the 2 times the negative 3. I personally like doing it this way because it's very systematic for my brain, right? I worked with the first one and went boom, boom, boom. Then I worked with the second one and went boom, 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 right? As long as you get all the multiplications together, do it the way that you're most comfortable with. Notice that FOIL doesn't work here, right? Because I don't have inner and outer pieces in particular, right? So that acronym doesn't really help here. So that's why I just like to do it very systematically. Take the first one, run it through, take the second one, run it through, and just keep doing that until I run out of terms in that first polynomial. What do we get when we multiply the x times the x squared? X cubed. X times 5x gives us minus 5x squared. Good. Notice it's negative because we took the x, a positive x, and a negative x, or 5x there. X times 3 just gives us 3x, right? And again, it's a minus because we took a plus x and a minus 3. 2 times x squared is just 2x squared. That was pretty easy. 2 times negative 5x gives us negative 10x, and 2 times negative 3 gives us negative 6. Now, as you get more comfortable doing these, I would expect that you should be able to go from that step to that step without having to write the middle one. If you needed to write the middle one here, that's perfectly fine. Please do. I'm just saying, as you do more and more practice, I would anticipate you to go from here to here pretty quickly. You don't have to write them on that. So now, what terms can we combine together? What pieces go together now? Good. The negative 5x squared and the 2x squared, what do we get when we put those together? Negative 3x squared. What else goes together? And gives you, the negative 13x, because we have a minus 3 minus a 10. And then a minus 6 on the end. Questions on that one? We okay with that? Ready to work on some more practice problems? What I would like you to do with these, it's just the front side, so there's not a whole bunch. There's 7 problems on here. What I'd like you to do is do these. You can check it with me, check it with your neighbor, but I want you to turn them in. 35 minutes. So, okay. You can ask me questions. You can check your answers with others. Okay.
The packet one's not an assignment though, right? This is just like.
That's just that was basically just notes for us to do for practice. Yeah. This one I just want you to do is make sure that we're all on the same page, especially before we have a quiz on Monday. And this will count in your quiz grades too. So this is a good chance to get, a perfect score in your quiz grade to start with. Humidity